and a very guten Tag and happy October to all of y'all. I'm John Rawl. Yes, it is, believe it or not, October. And if you're lucky enough to catch us here on this debut of the show for the month of October, it's October 1st. So, yeah, it's a kind of a big deal for a lot of the world. I don't have a beer close by, but if I had one, Prost or whatever else you need to say out there. Welcome in. We got a lot to toast here on this week's All Citadel show, powered in part by IPS Packaging. The Citadel with a very impressive 28-10 road win, their second SoCon road win of the year. We're going to break it all down. We're going to hear from Maurice Drayton right after the win. What a great, great Saturday evening in the scenic city of Chattanooga for this very, very savvy road team, at least, of Citadel football. Andrew Miller of the Charleston Post and Courier will be on in just a moment, and you can find Andrew on his social media at APMiller_PNC is where you'll find him. Also want to let you know that this show is brought to you in part by an array of wonderful sponsors, and those sponsors include IPS Packaging and Automation, Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, Hood Construction, and Senior Private Shop, where we'll have a knob knowledge question. I think I haven't got it in yet from our friends there yet, but we'll come up with something and get you a great knob knowledge question to be answered later in the show. And let's talk a bit about Hood Construction. You know, we haven't been bragging on them enough, so let's brag on Hood Construction because they're a great South Carolina-based company, and our own Thomas Scruggs is a employee of Hood Construction. Hello, Thomas. Welcome into Citadel Gray Line.
Hey, John. How are you?
I'm good. How is Hood Construction doing today? What are they building? What are they working on?
It's another busy day here in South Carolina on our many job sites across the state, John. You know, from the Midlands to the PD, down here to the Low Country. And, you know, I've got a project over here at the College of Charleston, we like to call the College of Knowledge. It started back in January of this year, and scheduled to be out of there sometime next summer. So, yeah, we're making friends all over the state.
All right. And Hood Construction, Thomas, they build it the right way.
Yes, sir. That's our motto. We build it the right way.
Yeah. I just stole that off their website. Hood Construction, again, South Carolina-based, Citadel-led. There is their logo. You can go to hoodconstruction.com and see what all they've got going on. For 39 years, they've been building it the right way, a full-service construction management company with their tentacles throughout the Pine Mountain State and beyond. Hoodconstruction.com, presenting this week's Citadel Gray Line, and each week's. They're helping present it here on the show. We appreciate their sponsorship. Andrew Miller is with the Charleston Post and Courier. Andrew, I got to start here this week picking on you a minute. I didn't realize you were a food writer for the Post and Courier because I believe you got a little food coverage to throw into the paper here this week.
Wow, I'm not aware of that. When did that happen?
That happened when you were covering the Charlotte Hornets, and a certain first-round draft pick talked about going to Heinemann's or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Hyman's. Yeah, he probably picked the absolute worst seafood place in downtown Charleston. I wouldn't go to Hyman's if you paid me.
There goes our Hyman sponsorship. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a Captain D's. There used to be a Captain D's in Mount Pleasant that I would go to before I would go to Hyman. So yeah.
Now, come on, Andrew. It's not Captain D's.
it's a half a step up from Captain D's. How about that? And then they charge you a lot more, and then they make you wait in line forever. But yeah, that would not be my first choice of downtown restaurants.
All right.
Seafood restaurants, if I was going to one. And it's like if they had just walked across the street, the Peninsula Grill, or gone 2 blocks further, they could have gone to Hank's, and then they had a really good meal.
Well, that was a question you asked of Kon Knueppel, the rookie for the Hornets, who were training at the Citadel here for a few days, and I just liked seeing that. I didn't like seeing your Chicago Bears hat, but other than that.
Why not?
Well, I figured you'd be repping the Cubs, which you are today. So congratulations on that Game 1 win there at Wrigley as they're facing off.
Up 1-0. And what's weird is I didn't realize that all the games in the wild card are with the home, with the Cubs. The Cubs would get all the home games, which I thought was really odd. But I don't, it just shows me. I tell people ask me, and are you a baseball fan? No, I'm a Cubs fan, and there is a difference between the two. We hadn't been in the playoffs in so long. I didn't realize that was the way the scheduling went now. So wow, so that's So I'm surprised to see they can play all 3 games. Well, if it goes 3 games, all 3 games will be at Wrigley Field.
Really a great sports experience there at Wrigley. And if you haven't been, Thomas, have you been to a game at Wrigley?
I sure have, John.
Pretty cool, huh?
Like stepping back in time. It's awesome.
Yeah, the best country bar I've ever been to was in Wrigleyville. And I've been to a lot of country, not necessarily bars, but entertainment venues. And that one won the award. So, yeah, great town, great part of Chicago. I won't say Chicago is a great town.
Oh, it's a great town. Stop it.
All right. Charleston's a great town.
Bulletproof vest.
Charleston's a great town too. Yep.
Charleston's great, and evidently Chattanooga's a great town. The Scenic City, they even put that on their jerseys this past week. Kind of threw me for a loop because you have to remember that Chattanooga's nickname's the Scenic City because you think it's a lookout city, but actually it's more of the Scenic City. And the Mocs actually had that across their jerseys. The jerseys that they wore when the Citadel roared back after a 7-0 start and got a just unbelievable win on the road, a second SoCon win. They're 2-0 on the road in the conference. I didn't see this one coming, Andrew.
Yeah, I didn't see them winning in the fashion that they did. I thought they would be competitive. I know, again, one of the things that Maurice Drayton was most disappointed about in the Mercer game was the team's effort. He talked about that after that game on that Saturday, and then again in the Monday presser, where he didn't feel like the guys gave a ton of effort. So what did he do on Tuesday and Wednesday? They had live tackling, and they had some scrimmages. They had some live scrimmages, live tackling. He said it was a brutal couple of days, a brutal couple of practices, and the coaching staff was telling him that he shouldn't do that he was going to wear the guys out before they got there. But the message obviously was received by the players, and they came out there and really, I thought, put together a dominant performance on both sides of the ball. I thought it was a great answer for the Citadel, and again, still now everything is in front of them. Everything that they want is still there. I mean, obviously they're going to probably need Mercer to get beat, but again, everything that they are playing for is still right there in front of them. And it started, I think, with the option and going kind of back to a little bit more of the triple option where the quarterback actually keeps the ball. That's something we've seen them run the option a few times this season already, but the quarterbacks hadn't been keeping the ball, and maybe it was reads, maybe it was a design play. I don't know, but the quarterbacks kept the ball, and Quentin Hayes rushed for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns, and I thought really kind of keyed the victory for him.
Well, Coach Drayton was very emotional after this game, not only because the Dogs pick up this 28-10 road win, a second SoCon win, 2-1 now in the conference on the season, but it was also the anniversary of his close friend and teammate and arguably best friend, I think is what he describes it, Stanley Myers, former Citadel quarterback, Citadel class of 1998, just like Coach Drayton. And he actually did something kind of cool. We'll talk about that on the other side. We actually have the video of Coach Drayton in the locker room. This just came out courtesy of Citadel Sports. Let's go listen to Coach Drayton moments after that convincing win over the Chattanooga Mocs.
All week long, we talked about flipping the switch. We talked about finding that alter ego. We talked about punishing a human being. We talked about punishing a human being. And liking it. Didn't it feel good to take somebody's will? Have you foamed it up? I love it. I love it. Bus 2 didn't watch no movies. Bus 3 didn't watch no movies. Bus 1 didn't watch no movies. It was all business. We get to the hotel. We locked and loaded right away. We hit that walk through. Everybody was focused. We had our meetings. Everybody was locked in. We had the opportunity to hear Coach Vance bring the word.
Yes, sir. Good word. Great word.
After the word, we got our introduction into flipping the switch. We saw the Wolverine We saw Superman, but you know what we didn't see because we hadn't shown it yet? The Citadel Bulldog. So on the next Friday night when we meet again, when we get ready to flip that switch, we're going to watch the Citadel Bulldog. Saturday, game day. Did something a little different. We ain't play no music in the locker room. We didn't create no false fire. It came from within. Everything happens for a reason. Garrison thought his jersey didn't fit. I shrunk it. Let me tell you why, because it's real personal for me. Yes. Yes. We brought an extra jersey, 16. Y'all hear me talk about my best friend all the time. I would not be standing here right now if Stanley Lamont Myers didn't talk me into coming back here. I was happy in the NFL. I was minding my own business. Today is the anniversary of his death. I already knew. I told y'all that the story was written. We just had to go out and execute our part. The moral of this week, if you take the coaching, if you take the buy-in, if you do the work, and that's what we're asking you to do, the sky is the limit for us.
That was Citadel head football coach Maurice Drayton in a very powerful message to his football team after a big win in Chattanooga. He mentioned the number 16. He mentioned destroying the opponent. I'm ready to get a jersey if you'll find one for me and suit up for this team, Andrew and Thomas.
I don't know if they have any jerseys quite big enough for that,
John. Get out of here. You're fired. I'd make a good punter, I think.
Yeah, obviously Stanley Myers is somebody who I've actually, I covered him when he played high school football at Swansea. I'll never forget. They played Macedonia, and I think Macedonia was 12-0 at the time, and they had a guy named Joe Hamilton who ended up being the runner-up in the Heisman and a few years down the road. Had the number 1 overall draft pick, Courtney Brown, on this team. I thought Macedonia was just going to wipe the floor with Swansea, and Stanley Myers put on a one-man show, and I got to cover him for a couple of years while he played at the Citadel as well. Great guy, great human being, great representative of the school, and just kind of everything you would want in a Citadel cadet, and what he represents and what he represented after he graduated from the school as well. So it's very emotional for Maurice to talk about that, and obviously you can see that in speech, and even today he still struggles when I bring up Stanley Myers and ask him about him. He still struggles talking about him because he gets very emotional about him. So yeah, just a great tribute to him. And Garrison Johnson was wearing the number 16 jersey against the Mocs and had that really nice touchdown run that he had. And I thought the running backs played really well. He and Sebastian Boyle both ran the ball really hard and really well. So, that was part of kind of getting that option, that triple option back into the offense.
Yes, it was a game in which the Citadel went into halftime with a 21-10 lead there in Chattanooga. That's not a common thing in Bulldog world. And then, again, blanking the Chattanooga Mocs in the second half, to me, that was very impressive for this sometimes beleaguered defensive unit.
Yeah, I think the defense has been pretty good for the most part all season long. They didn't play well against Mercer. That's really kind of, I think, hopefully that's the outlier. That's not the norm. That's not the norm that I had seen. But yeah, they were much more aggressive, much more downhill, put a little bit more pressure on the Mocs quarterback, and did a better job against the run, I thought, on the road. And that's the other thing. Maurice and I were talking about after the game about what's the difference between them on the road and at home, where they haven't, not only are they 0-2, but they haven't scored a single point yet at Johnson Hagan Stadium. And he just kind of said, I think there are just fewer distractions when you get on the road. The team is able to come together, they're able to bond together, they're able to create that chemistry, that family kind of atmosphere that they want, and that's what they've been able to do on the road. So, maybe they want to move all their games on the road, but I don't think Citadel fans will be too happy about that.
I think Thomas would probably be happy.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Now, if we could change that home field narrative, I mean, we have a real shot this year. I mean, we're sitting in third place in the SoCon right now, and you look at that schedule, that upcoming schedule, especially our SoCon schedule. It seems to be very favorable to us. So, it's going to be tough to top Mercer. Mercer's going to we have to count on somebody else beating them. Of course, they'd have the head-to-head. So, even talking about being in the top tier of the SoCon this year to me is encouraging.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, I got this win. Hold on a second. This win was so convincing, Thomas. I got a call out of nowhere this week from our host emeritus of this program, Jim Waddell, who I'm trying to get on before we wrap up this season of Citadel Gray Lines, Waddell class of 1960. He was impressed by this win.
Yeah, two wins on the road. I don't care who they come up against in your conference. Those are obviously two huge wins, and I agree with Tommy. The schedule does kind of line up for them to, hopefully if they can play better at home and score some points at home. I like their chances against their remaining home schedule, SoCon home schedule. It could come down to ETSU the last week of the season, and hopefully they can make it there. Obviously, they've got some. You got to go to Furman and play well there, and then he use another road game for them as well. But I'm again, and Tommy Thomason, we've kind of discussed this. Really, besides Ole Miss, the rest of their schedule, they should be in every single game, and it just come down to who executes the best and who makes the fewest mistakes.
This win was maybe the start of something new. To my knowledge, it's the first time I've ever seen Citadel head coach Maurice Drayton wearing shorts on the sideline, and that's not normally something you see by a head coach. So maybe it's his lucky pair of shorts.
I did mention that to him in the post game, and he said he's received several emails and texts about that, some favoring, most against it. And I'm like, I told him, I said, look, Mo, if you start winning, I don't think nobody's going to care what you wear on the sideline. You can wear shorts all day long. And then I told him that my lead, if he wins again and he wears shorts, it must be the shorts, It's got to be the shoes, right? So it's got to be the shorts.
He definitely did, he's a head coach, but he sure didn't kind of look like it. I'm sure the camera guys are like, well, okay, which one's this head coach?
Yeah, not the guy in the shorts. I bet that's what they said.
Yeah. I want to ask you, Andrew, the amount of snaps by Quentin Hayes and Kobe Tompkins, the two quarterbacks, what was that breakdown of who got what percentage over the other one?
I think Quentin had a little bit more. They don't do snaps and plays. They don't keep those at the Citadel, unfortunately. I think it was a little bit skewed more towards Quentin. And again, Kobe Tompkins has a turf toe. And if anybody's ever had turf toe, I always love it when people dismiss turf toe, like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Why does, just I've had it one time, and this was way back in my 20s, and I don't know how I got it, but it's your big toe, and you basically, if you think about walking, cutting, running, anything, that takes quick movement, your big toe is incredibly important in that. And so he's got this turf toe, and they're hoping that's going to kind of go away this week because they have that week off. But that's an incredibly painful injury, and it really limits what you can do physically. But Kobe came back in the fourth quarter, and I thought had a really good fourth quarter. But really, Quentin, I thought, was the key to this game. I thought the way he ran the option, the way he pitched the ball, kept it, the times that he kept it were crucial for them. Obviously, he had a couple of touchdowns as well. And when those two guys are running like that, they're going to be a tough team to beat. They're going to be a tough offense to stop because that's going to open things up between the tackles for the running backs, and that's really the key for the Citadel getting that running game going. And you saw they had 344 yards of rushing. They had 20 or 25 more offensive plays than Chattanooga did. That's really the kind of the game that Citadel wants to play, that complementary football where their offense is controlling the clock, controlling the line of scrimmage, and then the defense isn't on for too many plays.
Very well noted. Hey, one of our great partners here is our presenting partner of Citadel Gray Line, and that is IPS Packaging and Automation. Since the 1970s, IPS Packaging, they've been doing their things. They're a true champion off the field. This is a family-owned and operated powerhouse. It's been, again, since 1976, a titan in the packaging industry. With all these decades in the business, they stand tall as a leader in the packaging product business. They've got the automation equipment and top-notch service to boot. IPS Packaging and Automation, they play a crucial role in the packaging processes of countless businesses and manufacturing facilities all over the U.S. of A. And, of course, they're Citadel-led, and they've been a proud sponsor of Citadel Athletics for more than a decade. Discover what IPS Packaging and Automation can do for you. Go to the website ipack.com or call them at 800-277-7007. IPS Packaging and Automation is a proud supporter of Citadel Athletics. We're also powered in part here on this show by Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. You know, they're a Columbia-based business, and if you live in the Midlands of South Carolina, you might just need their service sometime. Go to their website, franklinplumbing.sc.com, and check out the great deals they've got. They've got a sewer replacement for $250 off if you stop by Franklin Plumbing SC, a full-service plumbing, gas, drain, and sewer company. Expert service available Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. Call them up if you want to do it that way, and they'll help you. And their number is 803-761-0167, 803-761-0167. FranklinPlumbingSC.com is the website. A Citadel-led company, and when you need plumbing help or you need that drain clean, they are your go-to person in Columbia and surrounding areas, and that includes Lugoff. All right, there I said it. Our first Lugoff reference of the show. All right, so the Citadel with this big win, they can sit back and enjoy because they got a week off now, Andrew.
Yeah, they have their open date comes up now. Although I always wonder, after a win, do you really want to have an open day? You know, I kind of think of like South Carolina. They had a big win against Kentucky. Now they got an open day. Kind of maybe mutes their momentum that they've created. But you know, I think a good week off here for the Citadel. They're going to be able to regroup a little bit, and then they come back. They play Division II Valdosta State at home. Then they got Western Carolina, which I think is going to be a kind of a huge game as far as determining, you know, is the Citadel going to kind of make a run in the upper echelon of the Southern Conference, or are they going to kind of be where they were last year? So two huge home games coming up. But, yeah, a good week to have off here. Heading into an opponent that you probably should beat here at home.
We have some feedback, and you can send us an email anytime on the Gray Line. Citadel@yall.com is our email address. Or if you're watching on Facebook Live, you're welcome to do a little comment there. And to Facebook Live we go, and I'll let both of you dive in on this. Bob Furden has a comment. He says, as commented last week, need to go back to triple option. That's our DNA. I don't know if you know what that means, Thomas. But, yeah, let's take a stab. What do y'all think of that from Bob?
Go ahead, Thomas.
No, you're the sports guy.
I think, again, it's the triple option, but it's also – for me at least, you have two dynamic athletes in Quentin Hayden and Kobe Tompkins at quarterback, guys who can make plays, who can get chunk plays with their legs and with their arms too, but with their legs in the triple option. And, you know, we saw it like Gardner-Webb. There was a play I remember even against North Dakota State. I remember Quentin keeping the ball one time and getting, 20, 25 yards in that game. And it just didn't seem like they were running enough of those plays. And the way Mo described it to me was that the team wasn't ready to run the more triple option because it takes a while to create that chemistry, between the running back and the quarterback and all the elements that go into running the triple option. And it just everything kind of clicked together against Chattanooga, and hopefully that continues to click together as the Citadel moves on with their schedule. But yeah, to me it was about the quarterback keeping the ball, making themselves a dangerous weapon in this offense. And then, if you look at their defense reaction, they were stuffing the middle between the tackles pretty much the opening part of the first game, the opening part of the first half on Saturday. And then as soon as the quarterback started keeping the ball and getting chunk plays, then they had to widen out their stances a little bit, and that created a little bit more running room between the tackles for the running backs, and that's why you saw the running backs get into it and be able to create some big plays as well.
Don't forget, John, our 2 QBs were 11 for 14 passing. So we can also pass the ball. Yes, our base offense makes sense to have, as a triple option, but we've got weapons. Our QBs can pass the ball this year.
Yep.
Well, one of the things mentioned in the locker room by head coach Maurice Drayton was how this team got a little Charlie Taff into their environment in the last few days after that tough loss to Mercer. Explain what that was all about, Andrew.
Yeah, that was about the 2 really tough practices that they had on Tuesday and Wednesday. Mo comes from the NFL where you don't hit the entire week. I mean, that's pretty much what a lot of the Power 4 schools do as well. They don't hit a lot during the week, so he brought that kind of mentality, that NFL mentality, to practices here, because you don't see a lot of hitting during the game, during the practices. Excuse me, and so he brought that back. And trust me, as somebody who covered Charlie Taff for a few years. He ran some very physical practices, and I think that's what Coach Drayton did. He reached back into his Charlie Taft playbook and decided to have a pretty rough, couple of practices. Now, people say, well, why don't they do that every week? Because if you do it every week, then you guys are going to get worn down. You're going to have injuries, and they're not going to be able to make the plays and be as fresh and energized as they should be on Saturday. So you can't do that every week, but you can do it once in a while. And then I think it sent a message to the players that, look, you guys got to step up. You got to, bring that effort, bring that 100% effort every single time and every single play. And the message was obviously received on Saturday.
And speaking of the former head coach of the late 80s and most of the 1990s, the late Charlie Taff, on the Citadel Sports on Instagram page, they're the ones that put that great locker room video up of Coach Drayton that we played earlier. We only played a portion of that. If you get a chance, go to Citadel Sports on Instagram or whatever social devices they have put that on and watch that in its entirety. It's very, very strong. But speaking of the Taff era, the most successful, I guess you could easily say, quarterback of that era, number 14, Jack Douglas, has actually chimed in on that video that we played. And Jack says, channeling your inner Charlie Taff has such a strong meaning with it. Love this. Go Dogs. So Mr. Douglas, class of 1992, was watching, and he's excited about the way this victory happened, and that's good to me. Of course, Stanley Meyer is also a Charlie Taff era quarterback, number 16.
Yeah, I saw Jack play. I covered Jack when he played at Garrett High School. So I've known Jack for a really long time. Another great human being, and a tremendous football player for the Citadel.
Terrible laugher, though. Don't ever get around him when he starts laughing. It'll drive you crazy, his laugh. And I should know. I lived next to him for 3 years. Thomas, we got this second SoCon win. Now we get to take a break. What if you had a magic wand, what would you be working on over there at 171 Moultrie to make this team win out the rest of the way?
Well, John, hopefully we don't have to have any more effort practices, for the remainder of the season. I mean, I don't know. Look what has worked for us on the road. If we can somehow, Andrew was talking about all the distractions. If we could block out those distractions when we're at Johnson Haygood Stadium and find a way to play like we have on the road, these 2 wins, to me, that's the recipe. We need both our quarterbacks healthy. We need a defense to keep playing the way they're playing. But like I said, I like our chances, here on out. And we better beat my wife's alma mater on homecoming. That's all I got to say.
And they better beat my other alma mater on November 8th. That's all I'm saying. And
that's not going to happen. Anyway.
I think they got a chance. I really think they got a chance.
We got a chance for a big paycheck, John. That's all
maybe. Andrew, what do you know about the way this SoCon is kind of shaping up thus far? Does the Citadel? I mean, they're right up there at the top of the standings at 2-1.
Yeah, they're right in there. Furman is going to be, I think, right up in there as well. ETSU is going to be up there. And those are all big games that are coming up. I think after what Mercer did to the Citadel at the Citadel, I would, you got to say that they're kind of the favorites from here on out. But certainly they're a team that's capable of being beaten. So, and then if it's a three-way tie for, say each team's got one loss, that'll be a very interesting scenario on who gets in and how they do the tiebreaker there, which I have not looked into, and we're too far away from that even to consider looking at that. But yeah, I think it's, again, it's anybody's race. There's still a lot of football to be left to be played, and the Citadel, if you think about it, the way I thought about it, the way you guys thought, I thought that Mercer and Chattanooga and Sanford were going to be the three of the toughest kind of challenges in the league this year outside of Furman, but you didn't know what Furman was going to have this year. But to go through that 2-1, I don't know who wouldn't have taken that at the beginning of the season. To go through those first three games, two of them on the road, and you go 2-1. I think any Citadel fan would have taken that for sure.
You'll take that, Thomas?
Absolutely, John. Yeah. I think I predicted 7 wins at the beginning of the year, so we're halfway home.
Well,
I think I was more 6-6, but yeah, I think I think Thomas is probably going to be right here.
Yeah,
they should be Valdosta State, they should be VMI, and they should be Wofford. That's 5 right there.
Yep.
And you can pick up a couple of wins someplace else too.
And that big shocker coming November 8th. I'm telling you, you heard it here first. So we got that going on and so much more. Remember, you can email us citadel@yall.com if you've got a question or comment, or chime in on our Facebook. That's Citadel Grayline, by the way, on Facebook. You can find us there, and we'd love to hear from you. Again, we're right at 300. We must be at 365 episodes. How do I know that? Because I've gotten more than one, actually, email overnight from our friends in China who are spamming and like, after 365 episodes, we need you to do all this. You know how this stuff works. But we've got evidently viewers in China, so hello to all y'all, and go Bulldogs. All right, so SoCon, as we said, kind of lining up to be, at this point, anybody's grab, because the Citadel has 3 games in their bucket. No, I don't think anybody else has that many, right?
No, I think the Citadel's played the most games in the SoCon.
So that's all well and good, and we are going to be hoping that a couple more wins come this way, and we'll wrap up another SoCon title, the first time since 2016 when the Citadel was undefeated in SoCon play. Very impressive. We do this show.
Correction.
What?
Sorry. Mercer is currently sits at 3-0 in the SoCon.
Oh, they've played 3 games?
Us and Mercer are the only 2 teams that have played 3 SoCon. Sanford, who's 0-3. So there's 3 of us total.
Okay, thank you for correcting me. I appreciate it. We have we have Knob Knowledge here. Speaking of knobs, Mr. Scruggs, Knob Knowledge, where we ask questions and you get a chance to answer. And if you're lucky enough to send us the right answer, then we got a nice little prize pack coming your way from seniorprivate.com. And you can text your answer to 843-779-8496. 843-779-8496. All right, we talked about Charlie Taft a couple times here on the show. I want to go back to the 1980s because it was a game, I think, against Navy that Jack Douglas, the maybe 3rd game of the year, right after, literally 2 days after Hurricane Hugo had come through the Low Country, that he kind of took over the starting role at the Citadel in that 1989 season. I want to know who the quarterback was for Charlie Taft, who played in the 1988 season, and I think most, if not all, of 1987. He was pretty good, too. He was darn good. Jack Douglas just happened to have a little bit better run. If you can tell me who that 1988 quarterback, starting quarterback for the Citadel is, we've got a Senior Private Shop gift pack coming your way, and can't wait to get that to you. All you got to do is text your answer who that 1988 starting quarterback was, 843-779-8496, 843-779-8496. and we'll get you. When I say starting, I think he got almost every game under his belt as starting quarterback. So let's not get too technical. 843-779-8496, and we'll get you that nice little senior private gift package headed your way. Andrew, were you covering the Dogs in 1988?
Not. I was in Buford writing for the Buford Gazette at that point in my life, so not covering them. But I did come up for a game because the Buford has a very large Citadel alumni base down there. So I did come up for a game. Tom Moore, was he the coach then? Was that his name?
Not in 88. Tom Moore probably would have been 86 and before then.
Okay, so that might have been when I was working at the state newspaper in college, because I had like a small college. I did all the small colleges when I was a senior, and that was 86. So yeah, so 86, 87, that must have been when it was. So yeah, Charlie was the head coach in 88 or 87. I can't remember.
I think he might have started in 87.
87, okay.
Maybe, but I know he was in 88. I know he was there. Because, Thomas, here's your knob knowledge question. The Citadel in 1988 had a tremendous home victory. And it would be their last game they ever played against what's now, at the time, would have been a FBS opponent. And it was a gigantic crowd. The game was even televised. I tried to get it off my little rabbit ears in the Columbia area off of one of the Charleston stations. I hardly could get it. Do you know who that opponent was that the Citadel played and actually won against?
That wasn't App State or Georgia Southern, was it?
No. This team would have been at the higher level even in 1988.
No clue.
It was 1988. It was the United States Naval Academy. They came to Johnson-Hagan Stadium and got beat. And then the Citadel the next year, courtesy of Jack Douglas, goes up to Annapolis and beats them again.
And then they wouldn't play them anymore.
I think you're probably right. But I think they're on the schedule, though. I think the Naval Academy is one of the future opponents in maybe 3 or 4 years. Pretty darn sure about that. But
they traded us for VMI, John.
Well, I think the Citadel's coming back on the Middies schedule, and I'm looking forward to it. Hey, I think the Naval Academy's got a good chance this year to win that conference they're in, the American, and possibly make it into the playoff. You don't think so? All right.
No.
Well, a lot of people are saying Memphis is going to win the American, and I know if they play Navy, which they did last year, I think it was, and got hammered, that Navy, that triple option or whatever they're running is just enough of a curveball that you never know.
Yeah, John, you sound like you're hammered by predicting Navy being in the playoff.
I'm predicting Navy and Vanderbilt for the national championship. How about that?
Yep, you started Oktoberfest celebrations way too early.
A little early.
I think Vanderbilt's got a real shot, but we're not here to talk about those big boys. We're here to talk about the great guys of FCS. All right, let's kind of wrap things up here. Andrew, I picked on you to start the show. You were over there at McAlister interviewing the Charlotte Hornets, who are in town for practice. The Citadel basketball team has let the Hornets come in and take over McAlister. Does that mean the Citadel basketball team's not even practicing right now?
No, they're practicing. The Hornets go in the morning. They've been going from about 11 to yesterday. They went to 2:15. So they went from 11 to 2:15. But that was the first practice of the entire year for the Hornets. So that was probably why it was an extended practice. It was supposed to get over around 12:30. But yeah, so they'll go till about 12:31-ish. And then the Citadel will practice. I think they normally practice around 3 o'clock. If anyone is getting limited practice time, my guess is that it will be the volleyball team.
Oh, okay. Well, it was I watched some of the interviews out of Charlotte of the players commenting after their first practice, and they put them through the ringer, it sounds like. And LaMelo Ball seemed to be like, oh, that's what we need to be, because they got a big game Saturday, or rather Sunday afternoon in Charleston. Sellout crowd. It's the Hornets and the defending NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder coming to town. That should be awesome. Yeah,
it should be. The last time that the Hornets played an exhibition game in the North Charleston Coliseum, it was against the Cleveland Cavaliers, which at that point featured LeBron James and Shaquille O'Neal. So that was kind of a cool matchup as well.
Yeah. So any news out of Ed Conroy's program as they're inching toward the start of their season?
Well, the SoCon preseason poll came out. They got picked last in the Southern Conference today. That'll be coming out in a story I'm writing for tomorrow. No guys on the preseason team, but I think this is going to be a better team than they were last year. Can't be much worse than they were last year. He's got who he thinks has got some depth and a little bit more size, and he's going to be able to run the kind of offense that he wants to run, the kind of system that he wants to run. So hopefully everybody stays healthy. That's been one of their biggest issues the last couple of years. And I expect them to have a better season this year than they did last year.
Excellent. Any other athletics news we need to get from you?
The Hornets need to figure out where they're going to eat. If they want to give me a call, I'm happy to give them some recommendations.
Well, Charleston's got this reputation as one of the food capitals of the country. I don't know how Kon Knueppel and his knob teammates, I think he said they were all his fellow rookies, ended up there at that establishment, but somebody needs to help them.
Yeah, they do. And it was funny because the Hornets media relations staff, as I was walking out, they were asking me for, hey, well, where's a good place to eat since you just threw Hyman Seafood under the bus, and then I gave him a couple of spots. So.
Oh, you gave him.
Andrew, I just got a text from the management over at Hyman's, and they're not happy at all with your statement. So you may want to backtrack a little bit.
Dude, I have not been to Hyman Seafood this century.
Okay. Well, maybe it's time you go back. I've never been. So, Hyman's, if you're watching, maybe you can treat us all. How does that sound? Thomas, are you okay with a free meal?
Absolutely.
I do. Okay. It's an off week. We should have some fun, right? If I'm going to go eat seafood in Charleston, South Carolina, or Charleston and vicinity, Andrew, where should I go?
My question is, what are you looking for?
I like fried shrimp. I'm kind of a redneck, so I just like fried shrimp.
If you want a Southern-style seafood, classic Southern-style seafood, in my opinion, and yes, I know the former proprietor, I would always go to Hank's. You're never going to have a bad meal at Hank's. It's a great place to go. They serve great Southern seafood fare. They have the best fried shrimp, the best fried anything. Yeah, I get the fried combo when I go there. It is awesome. I couldn't speak more highly of that. If you want to go a little bit off the beaten path, and it's a much smaller establishment, but it's getting a national and probably worldwide reputation, a place called the Chubby Fish. And that you can't make reservations there. It's about a block away from where the Post and Courier used to be, our old building. I can't remember I don't want to say Spring Street, but I don't know if that's correct. But you can't make reservations there. You kind of got to walk in. You'll get on a waiting list for that day, and when when your table opens up, you go in and you eat. But I've been there twice, and outstanding, just outstanding food. There are a lot of other places. The Ordinary's got a great reputation. A lot of these other places, but for me, the Chubby Fish is the place to go.
If you don't mind, Andrew, stand up. Let's see that belly. You know what you're talking about here.
I am not. I'm down to under 190 pounds. I'm in fighting weight now.
And I just need validation. Thomas, have you been to either of those places he just bragged about?
So I've been to Hank's. Yeah, the other place I have not been, but I've been to Hank's. Hank's, I can speak for Hank's. Very good seafood.
Yeah, and this could be a new revenue stream for us. Actually, the other day, Thomas and I were talking about a place over on James Island that, to me, had the best Chicago pizza I've ever had, and I've been to Chicago. Do you know where I'm talking about, Andrew?
No, I didn't know there was a Chicago pizza place here.
Lay it on him.
Fam's Brewing.
Where?
Fam's Brewing.
Fams.
Sam's?
Fams, F-A-M-S. Fam's Brewing.
Okay.
Deep dish Chicago-style pizza is excellent.
When we went, I took my wife to Chicago. We went out to one of the best pizza places there now, whose name escapes me. Gosh, I hate getting old. But it came out in this teeny little pan, And my wife's like, hey, I'm going to need another one. And she looks at me and I go, no, you're not. I said, you're not going to finish that one. She goes, no, I will devour this in 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, let's see it. And she got halfway through it and she's like, oh my God, I can't eat another bite. And it just, people don't get it. It's a unique kind of pizza, but it is great. I prefer it over the New York style pizza. I just can't find it. I'm going to have to go check that place out.
It's awesome. And they have beer there too, as you might have figured out.
Geno's East in Chicago. Love it.
Geno's East, yeah.
All right. Well, we apologize for having the food talk, but it is Oktoberfest, so Prost or Mazel Tov or whatever you need to say. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Thank you, gentlemen, both for coming on. And we can do something else this Saturday because there will be no Citadel football to view. But check out everything at the Post and Courier, and Andrew, his fine writing there at postandcourier.com. And again, we'll be back here. If you've got questions through the week, citadel@y'all.com is how you can find us. Or feel free to chime in on Facebook on our Citadel Grayline Facebook page. Gentlemen, have a great week. Thanks again.
Thanks, John. See you next week.
All right, thank you. And we appreciate all of you for sticking with the food talk and all the other fun stuff that we did. And we'll see you back here next week. Fall out.